Yep, same place, and same thoughts going through my head, and same dog wondering when I'm going to get up and do something exciting. I just got this up to 400. My next grit is 600 and then 800, and then I put it on the buffer. See how shiny I can get. Actually, I got to do this spine back here and a little bit back here, but I do that with my drill and it happens real quick. I'm just not doing it right now. And then I put it on the buffer, and then I heat treat it, temper it, bring it back out here. I cleaned it all back up. I go back to 600, cleaned it up, hit it with 800, and then go rebuff it. And then I'm ready for handles. So still, several days away from that point. I'm only working a little bit here today. I only sanded up one grit. I sanded 400, so I'm not going to do any more today. I still feel weak as a kitten. I feel a little bit better, but I got a feeling that a large part of this is me not drinking any coffee. And to the folks that are reminding me that hot chocolate has caffeine in it, I know, but a cup of coffee, an 8-ounce cup of coffee, and I drink, 12-ounce and 14-ounce cups of coffee. An 8-ounce cup of coffee has 95 milligrams of caffeine in it, and this hot chocolate I'm drinking has 6 milligrams of caffeine in it, and I only have one. So I've added up what I drink in a day that contains caffeine previous to me quitting, and it was 670 on a typical day to at least 400 on a normal day where I just drank coffee and no sodas and no coffee out here. See, how many times do I come out here? I drink my 3 cups at the house, and I'm guesstimating that to be about 140 milligrams per cup because I have a giant cup. And then I have Diet Coke at the house, a Mountain Dew down here, a cup of coffee down here. So that's nearly 700 milligrams of caffeine on some days. And at minimum, I never have less than 3 cups of coffee. So 140 milligrams times 3. So was that 420? I mean, I can't do that in my head anymore. So 400 milligrams at least every day, and a maximum of possibly 700. So I'm drinking 1 cup of hot chocolate in the morning with 6 milligrams of caffeine in it, and my body doesn't even notice that. It laughs at 6 milligrams. So anyway, I'm just, I'm not a worrywart. I'm not. I resign myself to this, that I'm old. I have very limited amount of money. So to prepare, I can't go deep into preparedness and stocking food and, I can't. And number one, I'm old and my wife is older than me. So, we're in our 60s, and good God, how much life do we have left, She's had cancer and heart attack and 2 other major surgeries, and I've had, a cancerous thyroid removed and my recent bout with, medical issues. So, under the best of circumstances, maybe 10 years left for me and maybe 10 years left for her. And I think about the life we've had. We've had a great life, an interesting life. We've had to work very, very hard, but the reward has been pretty good. We've enjoyed our paid-for homes and land and new vehicles, and I'm not complaining. So if suddenly the world were to change in such a fashion that our lives would end rather quickly, okay. And I guess being a Christian, that I know this isn't the end. And I guess that's what makes me feel pretty good about, not worrying. So I really do think that we are in for some extreme changes. The Nord Stream pipeline thing, it's still up in the air who actually did it. But there can only be 2 people, 2 countries. And it looks like Russia is really going to load up big time and come back at Ukraine, and possibly Belarus is going to attack Kyiv from Belarus, and they've got, I think they have 50,000 normal soldiers and a reserve of up to 500,000, that is a ton of soldiers hitting Ukraine all at once. So who knows what the future holds. And on top of that, if we did the Nord Stream thing, you know there's going to be retaliation, and that could be an internet cut off. It could be our oil wells in the Gulf, or, offshore being attacked. It could be anything. I'm just throwing things out there. The possibilities are endless in which our lives can change drastically overnight. And on top of that, worldwide, the entire world is suffering economically. China is having a very difficult time. Russia is near collapse. England is having a hard time economically. They're thinking of having a second or third quantitative easing for the pound. I think they use the pound and not the EU thing. I think they're out of the EU now and they're using their own dollar. I don't know if that's true, but they're going to do what we did here, the quantitative easing, which makes your dollar worth less and less and less every time they do that. Quantitative easing is just a massive printing of money, and all that does is make my dollar that was worth 70 cents now worth 50 cents. And quantitative easing spreads cash. What it does is delay hyperinflation. And we've done it here a couple times, and all you got to do is go to the grocery store and see how that affected you, the little guy, me, the little guy. And that's going to affect Brits the same way. And Canada, their dollar is not as strong as it was. So the entire world is suffering economically. And I feel like bad things for us average people are probably on the horizon. And I suspect, because I've lived through so many voting cycles, I suspect that they're going to hold off till the midterms to let some of the things crash, because we know, or I think most people know, that for 4 years we had a pretty stable economy, and we got along well with other countries. And then for the last 2 years, we've done a catastrophic exit from Afghanistan, which made the entire world laugh at us and embolden them. And your dollar's worth nothing. Jobs have gone. People suffered for 2 years being locked down and denied access to school because they wouldn't take the thing in the arm. And here I am going in areas I really don't want to go. My YouTube income has already suffered by about half. And so I have to be very careful and tiptoe around things I want to say. So in the 2 years, our country has gone from profitable with brimming oil reserves and oil companies desperately trying to hire good people at very high paying salaries. And, there was no one that wanted a job that didn't have a job. There was no one that wanted to buy a house that couldn't afford to buy a house. For 4 years, we had a pretty good life. And then we went and voted in the bumbling fool. Not we, I certainly didn't. But there are people that did. And, you don't see any Biden bumper stickers. Have you noticed that? You just don't see that. Anyway, I'm going to go home and do a little more reading and research and on my computer, and think about things I could possibly do that don't cost anything on a preparedness-related platform. That's what I'm talking about. So here I go. I'm going back home. Have a good Tuesday, y'all.
The return of Jesus Christ, because again they want to create a group of non-humans again, just like the Genesis account. But I believe it's also another indicator of what Paul warned about as a sign that when your society is at the absolute last stages of utter destruction because you rejected God. And that's his warning that he tells us about in the book of Romans. Open your Bibles to Romans chapter 1 is our opening text here, Romans chapter 1. And we're going to read verses 18 to 32. And you're going to see, as we read through it, I'm going to tear it down for you. And you're going to see that this is, frankly, us. Every aspect, in fact, the exact